And we are officially live once again here at BC WrestlePod. Buenas noches a las todas y bienvenidos. Welcome to Los Lobos de la Lucha, your weekly CMLL review show here at BC WrestlePod. Of course, as always, my name is Mikey. I am El Jefe of BC WrestlePod. I run the ones and twos and I run pretty much everything else behind the scenes. But as always, I am only one man and I can never do these things alone. That is why every single show I'm on, I am joined by a different host. And of course, tonight I am joined once again by Papa Oso, who had to put up with me running a little bit late to NXT, but we started on time for this one. So I appreciate him putting up with me. So I appreciate him and everybody else. But of course, this would not be I mean, let's just call it out because Primo in the chat is also here. Hold the freaking phone. Where's Papa Oso's hat? I'm scared. LOL. Much better. Oh my goodness.
Less of a glare.
He's honestly, Primo has been around long enough. He's just like, damn. I was like, you have been around long enough to notice the small differences like this. Oh my goodness. But no, we love you, Primo, and thank you for being here tonight. And I'm excited. We're gonna have a good time tonight because that's funny. Thank God kayfabe stays alive. Oh my goodness. I love it. But I'm excited tonight because we are here to talk about obviously another episode of Viernes Espectacular for CMLL. But this was CMLL's International Women's Day show. So I'm excited. And this, of course, was a crossover because we also got not only did we get our CMLL stars or Amazonas, we also got some crossover with some Stardom girls and some AEW girls, and we have 8 matches to talk about. Talk about jam packing everything in they could in like a 2-hour show. So we're gonna get into all of this. But if you are brand new here or you've been rocking with us forever, we're gonna go through this intro really quickly. YouTube, Twitch, and Kick is where you can see us go live most nights of the week. But if you're looking for something a little less chaotic and a little bit more refined, YouTube also will houses our edited versions of these lives that go up the following day, pretty much every day at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. So that is a fun time. If you're looking for something a little bit more manageable, then maybe head on over to the social medias at BC WrestlePod, where we have our report cards, our clips, our prediction stuff, are all kinds of other things you can find on the internet. It is great time. So if you want, you can pick your favorite social media site. We're probably on there. So you go for there. We also have some merchandise available at the beginning of the show. I dropped in the chat the links to not only our social medias, but to our store, bcwrestlepodshop.fourthwall.com, where you can get some really fun stuff. And last, but certainly not least, of course, we pay for a lot of streaming services. We pay for this CMLL subscription. I just dropped money for our AEW pay-per-view happening this weekend. So we pay for a lot. So if you feel inclined to donate to the cause, but to do no added pressure, because we know times are tough out here, the coffee bot will be in the Twitch and YouTube chat ever so often. So you can click on the link there and donate however much you would like. But again, no pressure because we love you and you being here is enough for us. Alrighty, now that I got the business out of the way, let's talk about why we're really here. We got women's wrestling to talk about. So I want to reiterate something that I said earlier tonight during the NXT review, and I'm going to continue to say it. This weekend for me was a lot of wrestling. I watched a lot of things, but one of the things that was consistent across the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of wrestling that I watched, women's wrestling is thriving and women's wrestling is fantastic. And this definitely was one way to start off my weekend because this is what kicked things off. And between this show and all the other wrestling events I watched this past weekend, not only did women's wrestling kind of carry the weekend for me, but there are so many women's matches that are on my short list of match of the years already, and it's barely March. So we got a lot to go through. just like we have a lot to go through tonight. So we got 8 matches. So let's not waste any time and let's talk about what kicked off the show. So, this is gonna be fun to talk about. So we kicked things off of La Noche de las Amazonas. So we opened up our show with, por el Campeonato Nacional Femenil de Parejas. So this is for the Mexican National Women's Tag Team Championships. So you have the champions in Kira and Scotty taking on the team of Metallica and Candela. And it's been a hot minute since I've seen Scotty. I know towards October, November, she was, she ended up winning the tournament, and it was a lot of fun. And you know what? And then it's been a hot minute since we've seen her, so it's been nice to see Scotty back, Kita as well. And then it was really fun to see Metallica and Candela come back. I've been missing some Candela, so this is great. This was a fun match, and I think this was a really fun match. Now, I want to preface by saying this. I ended up watching this twice. I watched it the first time by myself, as it was as it was happening live on Friday. I ended up staying up super late after I got home from my work function, and that was a really bad choice because I had to wake up early the next day. But you know what? It's wrestling, so we deal with it. And then I watched it again with my good friend Uriel, who's doing a lot better right now. So Will knows the situation. So really happy to see him doing okay. And we ended up watching this Saturday afternoon together. So this was a lot of fun. But as far as this match goes, I had a good time with this one. I do agree with Primo that I was hoping for a little bit more. But again, we had 8 matches, so some time got cut in certain places. And I thought this was a really solid way to start off the night. Of course, this was some really fun back and forth. Uriel was very impressed with Scotty for being, a girl of her stature and being able to kind of move the way she does is always impressive to watch. And you know what? Scotty and Kita prove why they are the champions because they ended up winning here. I thought this was a solid bout of from beginning to end. Papa Oso, how did we feel about this title match opening up the La Noche de las Amazonas?
I thought it was great. I thought it was a good match. I thought, funny thing is normally we're so used to like a big exciting opening the night, but I think this kind of set the bar where we needed it to be for the evening to progress. So I think they did their job perfectly. And it is wonderful to see Kira and Skadi. And of course Metallica and Candela, but I love Kira and Skadi. I just love them. And there are voluptuous women that can make the rounds, man. And that's one of the things I love. Can I just say it's a little off topic, but not really. It's one of the things I love about this style of wrestling is that you get wrestlers of all shapes, sizes, ages, everything. It's not, because we're so used to like American style wrestling where everybody, for the most part, it's pretty, quote unquote, the American version of pretty. Everyone, even the not so pretty ones, are super pretty. And I like the fact that in this style, yes, everyone is beautiful, obviously, because of all the peoples. But I love it when, and I'm gonna step out of the women's for just a second. When like the men, when they're creating like gross, despicable characters, they're gross and despicable. I mean, they're not the pretty versions of gross and despicable. You know what I mean? So I love the fact, and going back to the women's, I love the fact that we have women of all sizes, all shapes, all ages in this ring showing us Americans that it is possible to be absolutely freaking amazing and not be the size of a twig. And I'm here for the big girls because I am a big girl. So I'm here for them. And let me tell you, these women, and I've said it a million times, women in this wrestling style are vicious. Far more vicious than like American women, I think. these women scare me. It's just like, you know, I'm not really scared by American women's wrestlers. I'm intrigued by them and I think they're amazing. But these women frighten me.
I was just like, they will flatten me as a pancake.
Uh-huh.
And I
And
might be
I love
I'm
that.
yeah, I do too. I was like, well, me personally, because you know how I go, I'm like, listen, they scare me and they will flatten me as a pancake. But honestly, yes.
Yeah.
Step on me.
Yep.
No, but all joking aside, this was a really fun match, and I think it definitely this was a really fun night because we got to see lots of like you said, we got to see a lot of women, you know, different shapes, sizes, creeds, and nationalities too, because this was a really
Mhm.
fun night of some collaboration and some exchanges. So this was a lot of fun for sure. So again, Scotty and Kita retain the Mexican National Women's Tag Team Championships. And we move on to our second match, which is our first of many mano a mano matches against some of the international stars. So in this iteration, we have CMLL's Dark Silhouette taking on Stardom's Micah. And this was a really fun one. Now, again, it might have been the audio, and I might just be projecting here, but it was really fun to see Dark Silhouette totally play Ruda in this one. And it was really, really cool. She's like, no, I'm the bad guy in this one. So yes. And we have become accustomed. We know that Mexico is always going to be behind their home talent. But it was really kind of fun and interesting to see Micah get a lot more cheers than I thought she was going to.
Mhm.
But then again, I I don't know too much, but I know that, you know, CMLL and Stardom and Japan in general have a pretty cordial relationship of sending girls back and forth between the two. So this was really fun. I have always been aware of Micah, but this year in 2026 is where we are kind of like doing more Stardom stuff. So I'm still kind of getting used to who's who and what's what. But what I've seen of Micah in the past and what I've seen so far from this year, I've really enjoyed this one. But again, this was definitely a lot of fun because Dark Silhouette the whole time was just being ruda and just being rude as hell, and I loved it. Um, and you know what? I will say that this match would also begin the trend for the majority of the night where we would see our international and US girls kind of take the wins over our CMLL girls, which is okay because I think this was a lot of fun. And the CMLL girls showed up and showed out where it mattered, especially when we get to the main event. Um, but Micah does end up winning. Um, I enjoyed this one, but yeah, an 8-match card, by the end of it, I was like when I was going through the slides again, I was like, "Oh crap, I forgot this happened." Which is not a bad thing. But again, I'm happy. I'm just getting more into Stardom, so any time I get to see the Stardom girls, it's great. Yeah, and then Primo kind of said the same thing. Kind of forgot about this match. I know it was good, but nothing that obviously stuck with me. My bad. LOL.
Mm-mm. No bad at all. I was the same way. But of course, I'm not familiar with like Micah.
Mhm.
I'm not familiar with her. So it was new to me. She was new to me. And so I kind of enjoyed that. You know, this sort of like, oh, I like, oh, someone I don't know. I get to watch this new style of wrestling and or their style of wrestling and or their version of what we're doing. You know, and it was so that was exciting to me. And I do agree. I don't necessarily think that this was like a stellar match. It was good. And I thought they both did well. And yeah, I did like Dark Silhouette kind of playing the Rudo in this. It was kind of fun to watch. Um, but yeah, I thought it was okay. It was all right. But you know, again, I agree with you guys. I kind of just forgot that it happened.
Again, a 2-hour show. We had 8 matches, so I forgot this was here. I still enjoyed it though, but I do agree. This was not necessarily towards the top of my favorites list, but by no way, shape, or form was it anything bad because this is some pretty solid stuff. So Micah again would go over Dark Silhouette here, and this would start the trend for a good chunk of the night, like I was alluding to earlier. Which, you know, we put a pause in that though because we get into this tag team match, Relevos Increíbles. So of course we have the team of La Catalina and Sanelli. Um, before we keep going though, it's like one thing I'll say of the whole night and this match too is everyone very much had their working boots on. Yes, every single woman on this show put in the work and they did some really great stuff. They were just like, listen, we got to hold the night down, so let's do it. But like I was saying, we had La Diva of CMLL, La Catalina is what she is going by as her moniker now, which I love. And the damsel in CMLL, first of all, Sinelli, you get one of these with that outfit choice you came in with your entrance gear, the hat, and the one long black glove. I was just like, yes, ma'am, I am here for all of it. And they were taking on some new talent because these are new to me. I have not seen them at all. And by the end of this, I want to see more. But La Catalina and Sinelli would end up taking on Kira or Kira. I'm trying to pronounce it as the announcers did, and La Angara Negra. So this is great. Oh, so that's why. Okay, because I was like, why does Gata look familiar? She was in AAA as Sexy Star 2 not too long ago. Okay, makes a lot of sense now. Lots and lots of sense. Um, this was a really fun match for me. I really loved this one. This was so I don't want to say balance. Balance is not the word I want to try to say, but there was an equal amount of back and forth between all four of these ladies, and I enjoyed the hell out of this one. Again, Kira and Gata Negra are completely new to me, but I enjoyed both of them, and I want to see more of them. But of course, I also really enjoy La Catalina and Sinelli. This was just really fun. And for me personally, I think it was this match onwards where my excitement and my smile would not stop leaving my face because of the energy that everyone started putting in from this point on for the rest of the show. I had a hell of a lot of fun. And yeah, I've become a big fan of Kira by the end of this Primo. Like, get more independent talent on here. Like, we saw the Torneo de Escuelas with the boys. Let's get more Amazonas in here because it's great. We also now have two Kira said the same way. Yeah, that's going to be annoying as hell to talk about. We are about to get the Spider-Man meme and CMLL, and I love it. But I had a fantastic time with this match. Papa, what did you think of this tag team match?
I had a great time with it. Of course, Sanili and La Catalina, it's always wonderful to see them. And, it's funny because I don't know why, but I feel like I've seen Kira and Gata Negra before. Like, have we never seen them before?
I don't think in CMLL, at least since we've been covering them. Now, I know Primo did just tell us that they were in other promotions, but as
Right.
far as CMLL goes, I don't recall them ever being on our screen for the last 2.5 years since we started covering CMLL.
I think what's throwing me is Gata Negra's mask looks very familiar to me.
That's fair. But Primo does put it up that unless you've watched AAA, you could have seen them, or even maybe IWRGs, but
I don't know. It's weird. Yeah, I don't know. For some reason, they look super familiar, and I'm just like, I don't know why. But oh well. I mean, it doesn't matter. But I was just like, have we never seen? Yeah, no, it was really great. I had fun with this one. This one was super fun. I just love watching. I love La Catalina. I love watching her just from beginning to end. I just love watching her, and kudos and ditto to all the things we've been talking about in the chat. But yeah, it was fun. I think again, I was just like, God, I don't know. The whole match, I was like, do I know these two for some reason? They feel familiar. That was the problem. It was like I was literally like, I think I've seen them somewhere before, and I don't know. I guess not, because I have never watched AAA, and I've never, or what was the other one? IWRG. I don't think I've ever watched either of those. So, but overall, I like this match. It was super fun. It was a step up from the previous matches.
Absolutely. And Primo kind of agrees that this match was a blast, and he was rooting for the new crew. So he's rooting for the new girls. Low key, I was too, but I love La Catalina and Sinelli, and they do end up winning this Relevo Increíbles match. And we would see Kita come. We would see both Kita and Gata Negra, still participating over the weekend. And Kita is going to be back on this Friday show, so this should be fun as well. It's like I hope they get to stick around. They aren't CMLL proper yet, which is fair. But I would like to see Kita and Gata Negra stick around because I do like them, and I think they add something fresh to the Amazonas division.
Agreed.
So we leave this Relevo Increíbles match, and okay. Is it really bad of me to say I think this is like from an entertainment standpoint because of how much I was smiling? I feel like this was personally my favorite match. I really love this one. And I've been having a hard time trying to articulate exactly why I really love this one. But let me set this up and then maybe we can try to talk it through to figure it out. So this is a triangular match, so a triple threat, triangular por la Copa Irma Gonzalez. So, of course, we have these three women. We have Marcela, La Magnifica, and Princess Sukhit. I believe is how the commentators were pronouncing it. So I'm trying to do better, like I did with Shalhua. Once I learned how to pronounce it, I want to make sure I do it every single time because I always don't want to mess it up, and I want to do right by our CMLL talent and be, I want to. I'm Latin. I'm Latino, and I want to make sure I do my people's prouds. But yeah, this match was so much fun, and we've seen other Copa Irma Gonzalez's before, and they've been really fun. But I have to agree with you, Primo. I wasn't expecting this to be bad, but because on previous occasions individually, when we seen Princesa and Marcela and just recently La Magnifica, I was like, they're pretty decent. They're okay. I think this match is going to be pretty good. But no, I agree with you. This match ended up being a lot better than I thought it was going to be. And they're just like, oh, okay. We have all the youngins out here doing some stuff. Let the girls who've been experienced and have been wrestling for a long time. Let's remind these girls why we are the way we are. And they pulled out a bunch of spots, and this was so much fun to watch. Of course, as each of the women Amazonas were making their entrance, we would get them to, and Primo, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but they each got to, have a small moment with Miss Irma Gonzalez, who was in the wheelchair being accompanied by, I'm assuming, a family member, her daughter. But yeah, this was great. Ooh, okay, hold up. Breaking news. If you often watch CMLL for any amount of time, Magnifica winning doesn't bode well for the hair match at de Dos Leyendas. I was like, oh Lord, somebody's losing hair. But, we'll talk about that when we get there. But I had such a blast with this. This,
I did too.
for me personally, was probably my favorite match. And I think the girls were just like, oh, okay, let's just throw everything, the kitchen sink, the refrigerator, your mama at the screen and see what happens.
No, you're right though. You're right. It was sort of a great example of the Amazonas like style. I'm just sort of like speaking from the Ethernet, or the Etherverse, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. I agree with you. I really liked this match a lot, and it's definitely at my top, if not my top one. It was so good.
It definitely was, and I kind of and Primo, I might try to message you on the social medias for this one because this night inspired me to want to do like outside of our lives of the post shows. I want to try to branch out, and I was like, you know what? I kind of want to do a little deep dive to learn more about Irma Gonzalez because, as Primo says, Irma is a rightful legend. Wouldn't have luchadoras without her, so I want to kind of know more about her story. And oh, she was legit working when it was illegal for her to wrestle. Oh, okay. Irma is my new favorite person immediately. Like, and
Love
not to
that.
put not to put Papa also on the spot, but because of what's been going on in the world, he's been giving us on social media. I've been paying attention to the tidbits he gives of revolutionary people who are uprising and showing resistance. And honestly, I kind of want to learn more about Irma and do my own little spin on it. Be like, I want to know more about her. I want to know her history. Like, yeah, and
Mhm.
then I mean, without knowing the ins and outs, we all know that women are always being oppressed, and especially back in the day, they had to fight for the right to do anything, and that's not just here in the states. That was pretty much around the world too, as I have come to learn thanks to Will sharing, stories of resistance from other around the world as well. So I didn't mean to put that out in the public internet, but there it is. And honestly, Will, I appreciate what you've been doing because I learn a little bit more every day.
Well, I'm glad I could help.
Yeah. So
Hey, I'm always looking for new subjects to write plays about.
yeah, so I want to do a deep dive on Irma Gonzalez, and then like I don't know, we'll figure out. We'll collab in some capacity. Be like, all right, here's our book report in video form. Do a whole TED Talk presentation on it. I'm down.
Yeah. Now I did write. I will say I did write a play about women's wrestling.
You did, and I'm excited about it. So yeah, but
But
this
anyways,
was a yeah. But anyways, continuing with this because we'll go down the rabbit hole.
yep.
So, but Primo also giving us more facts. You got to remember that women's wrestling was banned until the late 80s, but honestly didn't really pick up till the late 90s and early 2000s. I
Isn't that
100%
weird?
agree, and I remember those times because again, as a kid growing up in the 90s and the 2000s, I wasn't necessarily the biggest wrestling fan, but I was aware of what was going on too, because the 90s and the 2000s is when we started to really see that transition. Well, it took us a long time, but I mean, in the early 2000s in WWE and WWF, we had the bra and panties matches, we had mud wrestling. So it's very
Yeah.
sexualized for the women, and it would be the likes of people like Mickey James and Lita and Trish Stratus and Molly Holly, at least from the
Mhm.
WWE perspective, where they're like, no, we're gonna wrestle like the boys and we're gonna do it and we're gonna do it big. So it definitely has come a long way in a short time for sure. And honestly, again, to kind of wrap up our thoughts, this match was cool. This was amazing. I
Mhm.
love this. La Magnifica does win, and this was a really fun one. Oh, 100%. Lady and Fabi Apache, who we love Fabi Apache, man. Like in the few times she's gone over to TNA in the last couple of years, Fabi Apache brought it to the modern ties. Like we love women's wrestling, and thank God for the Trailblazers because we get to talk about nights like this in professional wrestling where we have an all women's card that just focuses on the luchadoras of CMLL as well as the talent from Stardom and AEW as well. But yeah, this match was it was probably my favorite of the whole entire night. I had such a blast watching this one, and this was great.
Mhm.
So we move on from the Copa Irma Gonzalez and we get back into the one-on-one matches again, but this time this was CMLL versus AEW. We have the powerhouse herself, Zuxis, taking on everybody's favorite dancer, Miss Mina Shirakawa. I was really happy to see Mina back in Mexico. I really enjoyed her personality and enjoyed her when she was last here for the Amazonas Grand Prix. And here she was back again. Girl is booked and blessed because she is traveling all over the world between here and AEW's schedule. And I love Mina. But once again, this was the trend in which, the visiting girls did end up winning here. I do think this was a really fun match, but because of the match the beforehand, for me personally, because I thoroughly had a blast watching the Copa Irma Gonzalez, this one wasn't bad, but I was just like, this was fun. But I was like, oh, okay. I was just like, but I by no means was this bad. I will say though, I was entertained, and I think that was the difference. I was highly entertained with this match. And no, I 100% agree though. Mina's character works so well in CMLL. But again, that goes to show with the stardom, especially the girls who were part of Neo Genesis. So, but anyways, that's for a whole nother show right there. But Papa, what did you think of Zuxis versus Mina Shirakawa?
I mean, I thought it was good. I mean, I didn't think anything was wrong with it or anything. Just I think I had gotten into sort of a lull at this point. I think I was just sort of like, okay, we're watching some good wrestling. This is good. All right, here we go. All right. Nothing really stood out to be like, oh my god, but I wasn't like snoozing during it. So I mean, that's good. And of course, Zuxis I love, and I mean, what I saw of Mina like back in the back in the times before. I mean, I enjoyed her, so I enjoyed the match. I really thought it was a really good match. I thought it was pretty strong. It wasn't necessarily weak necessarily. I mean, it was fun. I just had a good time. I mean, honestly.
Yeah, this was an extremely fun match. And look, like Primo was saying too, I feel like Mina gets it and her character works so well in CMLL because she understands what it's supposed to be too. Like
Right.
and the funny thing is like I know a lot, especially especially on the guys' side of things. When our American boys come on over, they play the typical like machismo American rudo. But it's really fun to see Mina kind of play a technica in this world too. But that's because that's the character she is. Like she's fun, she's playful. To me, she's AEW's version of La Catalina. She's a diva character, and you kind of have to go the technica route. And it was this match was fun. And honestly, again, I know it's already been a couple months since Zuxi's return, but I'm really happy to continue to see her and back from injury. And this was just a fun match. And honestly, it kept on going because after this one, though, Papa, I was just like, make way for the meat slapping girls because woo! Listen, I knew I'm a freak of nature, right? I love me some meaty women slapping each other silly. And I was a little worried because I was like, okay, I really love Megan Bain, but I really don't want to get Papa Oso's hopes up and be like, if she doesn't do good, then I'm gonna be disappointed because I don't want him to be like, oh, she wasn't that great. I'm like, no, but I love Megan. She actually really is good. She just had a bad night. But by the end of this match, I had no worries. I had no worries whatsoever. But in our other mano a mano match, CMLL versus AEW, of course, we have Olympia taking on the Megasis of AEW, Mega Bag. And let me tell you, bitches threw down. Holy shit. Whereas the Copa Irma Gonzalez was my entertainment match because of how happy I was, from an in-ring wise, like Primo says, this was the fucking match of the night. Holy shit. I was just like, I was so happy they both delivered. And I'm like, thank God. I was worried because I don't want to like talk highly of Megan and like for you to be disappointed. But nah, these girls threw the fuck down. And honestly, holy hell, this was a Haas match. And I loved it.
I mean, yeah, this match blew the roof off the house. It was so good. I mean, you felt every hit, you felt the earth shake. I mean, it was like brutal, it was raw, it was savage, it was just everything that I love about women's wrestling in Mexico. It delivered everything to me. And this was also my match of the night. And no, I thought Megan Ben was fantastic. So,
yeah.
Yay.
So Primo agrees. He says that it's Olympia's best match, which again, in the short time that we've seen Olympia, this was a really strong outing for her. But now I want to speak on to Megan's career because I have gotten the privilege to see a lot of Megan over the last 3 years. That is due in part to our crazy, lovable Samoan host, Andrew, whom we love dearly over here as part of the BC WrestlePod family. But I was introduced to Megan because she would be before she got signed to AEW, she was in GCW, Game Changer Wrestling, which is an independent promotion here in the States. And she and her boo thing, Joey Janela, were always running rampant, and she would always be having these crazy matches in GCW. And I've really enjoyed her in AEW. I get to see her live this Sunday at Revolution. She and Lena Cross are going to fight Willow and Harley Cameron for the women's titles. So this is crazy. But this definitely is really good for Megan. This is probably one of her best matches in her young career because lest we forget, y'all, despite the size, Megan is only in her 20s. Like, this is still a young girl. This is crazy of how fun and good she is. And also, Primo, I agree with you right here. Olympia's getting scary close to being ready for the big time. Yes, I am here for putting Olympia at the top of the Amazonas division. I am here for that agenda. Let's do it. She's done really, really good she's really done some amazing stuff in the last couple of months. But yeah, this was just two meaty women slapping the crap out of each other. Megan Bain does win, but Olympia did not make it easy for her. And this was so damn good. I was just like, thank you, Megan. And thank you, Olympia. Once again, I'm putting this on at the end of the month when when I'm like, hey, Mikey, what matches should I watch from March? This is gonna be one of them. And this also it might be one of my match of the year contenders too, which I know is crazy to say because it's still March, but this was so freaking good. So we go from this match into our semi-main event, which is por el Campeonato Mundial Femenil de Parejas CMLL. So this is for the CMLL Women's Championship. We have the champions La Jarochita and Lluvia, Los Chicas Ingornables, taking on the team of May Serra and, of course, the only luchadora of stardom herself in Starlight Kid. I love Starlight Kid so much. She is really fun to watch in stardom, and her name has been around forever. And even before I started diving deep into stardom, I even knew who she was. Um, this was also a really fun match, as Primo says, and this was a really fun clash of styles. I do think the only issue that I had, and maybe it was just me, but then again, 8 matches in 2 hours is a lot. This one definitely felt on the shorter side of things for me, but everybody got to get their stuff in, and I thought this was a really fun championship match. Yeah, Primo, I agree with you. I'm also glad that everyone really got to do their thing in this one. So this was a really fun clash of styles because, of course, you have our champions from CMLL, and you get to see the strong Joshi style of the Stardom girls, from May and Starlight Kid. So this was a fun one. Papa, what did you think of our semi-main event in the tag team championship match?
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun match. I mean, it was. I agree, though. I think that the night was getting long. But I mean, it was La Jarochita Lluvia. I love both of them. I'm not familiar with the Stardom girls, but again, I was enjoying it because I got to see new people. And Starlight Kid, yeah, that's her name. Was pretty cool actually. I really like Star. I actually like both of them. I thought they both did well. I really thought it was a well-rounded match. I guess that's the right wording. Um, or or a well-balanced match. I thought it was a very well-balanced match, and it was fun. It was just fun. I think it was a good sort of palate cleanser as you're getting ready to go home. Sort of type of thing.
It definitely was a fun prelude to the main event. So this definitely was a fun one with the clash of styles and everyone getting a chance to show off what they can do. Of course, Los Chicos Indonables do win. So La Jarochita and Nuvia are still our champions. But what a fun way. Now, I'm just let this graphic stay here because this had layers of storytelling, especially for those of us that have been paying attention over the last year or
Yep.
so. Because last time that Persephone fought Mercedes for the CMLL championship, well, okay, let me set this up first before I get into the nitty gritty. So this is por el Campeonato Mundial Femenino CMLL. So this is for the CMLL Women's World Championship. Challenger Persephone, CMLL's Persephone versus the champion AEW's Mercedes Monet. Okay, back into the story of things. Because last time that Persephone challenged Mercedes for the title, Mercedes kind of got in the face of Persephone's family, specifically her mother, and it was really fun to see turnabout is fair play because we had a whole drink got thrown at Mercedes, and Persephone was able to do some damage to Mercedes in front of, you know, Persephone's mom. So the family was there cheering her on. This was such a fun one. And again, Mercedes knows what she's doing. First and foremost, I'm like, girl comes out with the whole Jaguar ass headpiece and a mask. So she comes out with the headpiece. I was just like, oh, girl, you're going to get this heat. I loved it. And then before the match even began, she stalled for like a minute or two to put on the Jaguar mask. And Persephone's like, nah, bitch, and pulls that and starts fighting. I was just like, oh, strap on in, kids, because this is going to be a fun one. I will say this, and it's kind of crazy to say this when we're talking about CMLL, but like, even though this is kind of like, I don't want to say Americanized, but this felt like I would see this type of match like on my on US wrestling television, like on a TNA or NXT or even a WWE or AEW, right? Because but I will have to say what I loved in this one, and this is just me because I'm a weirdo. I love me some good ring psychology and some good storytelling. Because early in the match, Persephone kind of messed up her arm a little bit. And so, what did Mercedes do for the rest of the match? She kept targeting that arm. She did everything she could to hurt it even more and tried to use it against Persephone. And Persephone was also selling it too, where she would go for certain spots and she couldn't get it all the way because her arm was in pain and just selling it. And I'm just like, I think that for me the in-ring psychology did its thing here, though I am interested to bring this up because Primo feels a little different. I don't know why, but the first match between them felt like it had more emotion stakes to it. I did think this was the better technical match of the two, though, and I think that's where I was getting at too. I think emotion wise, the first encounter was more emotional for them. But I think technical wise and in ring work and in ring psychology and storytelling, I think this is the better of the two encounters that they've had. But still, I also agree, both great, and they should keep. Yes, fight forever. Also, before I throw it to Papa to get his thoughts, Papa, I just want to let you know that I feel today I was this year's old, and I feel really old now because I'm like, oh yeah, Persephone's out here. Like homegirl has been wrestling for a while now. She's starting to become a vet. She is 24 years old. I want to remind everyone, Persephone is 24 years old. I'm like, oh, you're just a baby. Oh, but again, like most luchadoras and luchadors, you've been wrestling since you were like 5. Now I will throw it over to Papa to give his thoughts about our main event.
Well, I loved it because my girl Persephone, of course, I am forever a Persephone fan. But I will say I do like Mercedes Moné more so now than I used to like her. And I don't necessarily think it was her fault. I think it was the Wrestleverse's fault. But I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was fun, and I love, and I agree with Agent Lo-Fi about these two should be fight. They should fight each other all the time. All the time. I think anytime they walk into the same building together, they should scrap.
Right, like the fight forever, and we're here for it.
Absolutely, it was fun to watch. It was just so great to watch because it felt personal. And I do kind of agree with that. This one was a little more technical than the other one was, but I still felt like it was personal to me when I was watching it.
You're like, I have stakes in this, and you know what? Those personal and emotional ties we have to Persephone paid off because Papa also the night ended in the best way possible with Persephone able to win and become the new CMLL Women's Champion. So she did what Zuxis and La Catalina and a few other girls couldn't do before her since Mercedes took the title back in June. And Persephone has been able to take it back and bring it back home to Arena Mexico. And so, of course, we had what I also love too, because we have to keep characters. I love how all the girls came out. CMLL, Stardom, and Mina Shirakawa came out to celebrate with Persephone. And then in the background, you just see Megan Bain like taking Mercedes to the back and like not wanting to be a part of the celebration. I was just like, yes, girls, keep that heel persona alive. We'd love to see it. But Man, what a way to end the night with Persephone as the new CMLL Women's Champion. And honestly,
Mhm.
this was such a good show. Again, I was spoiled this weekend by women's wrestling and wrestling in general, but this definitely helped start the weekend off for me. Because, like I said earlier tonight, there was this on Friday. Then we had NXT's Vengeance Day, where Izzy and Tatum had probably the best match of their career and one of my favorite matches of that whole show. And then on Sunday, I got to see Eve's Wrestle Queendom 8, which was nothing but women's wrestling as well. And it was also has match of the year contenders for me on that show. But Primo, I love that
Mhm.
Persephone stayed of Ruda in the post interview. Just great stuff. Yeah, which is great. We got to keep those characters alive. But honestly, I will root for Persephone till the cows come home for me. Like she is that girl, and we love her so much. And what a night! And 20 and La Noche de las Amazonas 2026 is officially in the books. God, what a really fun show.
It really was. It really, really was. It was just fun.
And it makes me excited. Now, of course, we have to wait until October once again for, the majority of women's matches to grace our screen again. But you know what? I'm looking forward to it. This was really, really fun. And honestly, this was so good to not only start off the weekend right for International Women's Day, but also International Women's Month. So shout out to all the Amazonas of CMLL, the girls of Stardom, and the girls of AEW for putting on a hell of a good show. This was so much fun. And I look forward to next year's International Women's Day show. But before we go and we sign off for the evening, let's preview what we got coming up this week because now we're kind of back into the swing of things. The last couple of weeks we've been having our a majority of our boys in Japan, but now we are getting like everybody back. And now we're kind of back into our regular scheduled programming, if you will, for all this, which is not a bad thing. And I love it. So, coming up this Friday or Viernes Espectacular, we have a really fun card, in my personal opinion, for this one. So we kick things off with our first match, which is a match relampago. So this is going to see Shockercito and Full Metal go at it. So that should be a really, really fun one. Then in our second match of the Segunda Lucha, we have a trios match of Magia Blanca and our 2026 Torneo de Escuelas winner, Tornado and Ray Pegasus, taking on the team of Raider, Espanto Jr., and El Galero. So that should be also fun. No, I agree. Match 2 has potential with the Escuela winners in it. So this should be really, really fun. Then in our third match, which is a Relevos Atómicos de Amazonas, so this is a 4-on-4 with the Amazonas division, we have Tessa Blanchard, Lluvia, La Jarochita, and Magnifica taking on the team of Persephone, Zuxis, Olympia, and Kira. So I'm like, God damn.
Damn.
That's what I said. I was like, they just want bitches to die, apparently.
Seriously. Wow.
Like both sides have some pretty
Mhm.
good stuff, but yeah, the team of Persephone, Zuxis, Olympia, and Kira, I'm like, damn, CMLL, you just gonna have bitches die and fight, which I'm here for. I'm here for it, honestly. Then in an evento especial, we have Flip Gordon, Esfinge, and Shelhua taking on the team of Barbaro Cavenario, Gran Guerrero, and Utani. So Utani is back on my screen. So I was like, yes, love this man. Then in the Lucha semifinal, so the semi-main event, you have another trios match: Atlantis Jr., Templario, and Titan taking on the team of Volador Jr., Angel de Oro, and our novio of CMLL, Mr. Soberano Jr. Like, God, I miss you, Soberano. I hope you had fun in Japan, and I'm glad you're okay. But bitch, I'm happy that you're back. I was like, we need sexy Jesus back in CMLL.
Yes.
God, then in the main event, which has some potential to be some fun, por el campeonato mundial completo del CMLL. Um, yeah, this, yeah, Yay for the return of trios on Fridays. Yes, because we have missed trios matches on Fridays the last couple of weeks due to a lot of the talent being in Japan. But back to this. So, in our main event for the CMLL World Heavyweight Championship match, we have our champion, AEW's Claudio Castagnoli, taking on CMLL's Elder Statesman of Ultimo Guerrero. So this match should be a lot of fun, and I love Claudio, but I'm rooting for Ultimo Guerrero because Ultimo is fantastic, and he is an icon. But I'm excited for this match nonetheless. And that is our preview for CMLL for Viernes Espectacular coming up this Friday. And thus, the internet went buggy there for a little bit. We're
I
back,
was like,
apparently.
what happened?
Oh, no. Okay, we're back. We promise. We're fine. Agent Lo-Fi, Claudio winning, calling it. No, how dare you? But you're probably right. Damn it. Yeah, and the uh-oh was from the internet. Come on, internet. We were doing great. Don't fuck it up now. All right, let's get out of here before the internet decides to completely die, right? So thank you so much for tuning in. Of course, we still got a fun week ahead of us. So Papa also will be tagging out for tomorrow, but he will be back Friday. But tagging in is going to be my other friend who is part of the gay agenda. So we are tagging out Papa Oso, but I'm bringing in the other bear of this trifecta in Benny, my good friend and one of our newer co-hosts. And the two of us will be here tomorrow night to talk about Eve's Girls of Battle Riot Wrestling's Wrestle Queendom 8, another all-women show. And hot damn, it has some match of the year contenders, and we're going to talk about them tomorrow night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Then Benny is going to tag out, and I bring back the OG Papa Bear in Will, as well as our other TNA folks, as we talk about another episode of TNA. And goddamn it, TNA, I hope you really pulled your shit together this week, because last week was fucking rough. And we didn't have a show last week because of change of plans, but goddamn, the show was really rough last week. So I'm really hoping that you pull it together this week. I know we talk a lot of shit and then we're still gonna watch it and cover it. So I was just like, what can we say? We're masochists. We like to get battered, bruised, and all for the sake of having a good old time. But that is gonna be it for us here tonight. So Primo, as always, thank you for being here. I'm gonna try to find you on the social medias because I want to message you because I have some questions because I really do want to do this deep dive into Irma Gonzalez. So I may message you for where to start with all that. But if not, then I'll ask you on air next week and we'll have a whole conversation in the middle of our post show next week. But from all of us here at BC WrestlePod to you at home, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay iconic, and more importantly than anything, you always deserve to finish your story. I will see you tomorrow for Eve's Wrestle Queendom 8 post show. But until then, sayonara, adios, and until next time, peace.